thanks for joining Have Tea with V. First of all, I always have to say thank you to y'all for tuning in, to watching. I really appreciate it, and I love the feedback, so keep that coming as well. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel and follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. I got some playlists, y'all, on Apple Music. Oh, Apple Music too. Follow me there. Add me, subscribe there, and on Spotify also. So as you see, I have a guest today. And I'm going to let her go ahead and introduce herself.
Oh, that's always a loaded question, bro. I don't know. Anyway, my name is Danikia Johnson. I'm 28 years old. I'll be 29 this year, Lord. I am a teacher and a content creator as well. I have my own podcast on my YouTube. Follow me, Danikia World. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got. We'll get more into it later on, but that's all I got.
I think that's good enough. And y'all make sure y'all do subscribe to her as well. Like, she's really dope. I met her as actually been a guest on her podcast. So, you gotta stick together, gotta work together.
Period.
Okay? And also, y'all know I record from 12 Studios in downtown Macon or whatever. So make sure you follow them and subscribe to their page and everything also. So I see something on social media, like I always do, because I be scrolling most of the day.
Don't we all?
Especially when I work from home and I don't really have much interaction with other people like that. Well, physical interaction, because verbally I have a lot of interaction. But I had some time to scroll. And I see something that somebody posted, and the question was, are you easy to please? Or are you just accustomed to neglect? So that's a very loaded question. Very loaded question. I mean, you can break that up into all kind of things. It also kind of ties back into my previous episode. If you haven't watched it, is trigger points. Checkpoint. Check yourself. And it ties back into that. I seen someone post this, but I also went to a live podcast recording in Atlanta about 3 weekends ago for Ace Metaphor and Key Rose. I don't know if you're familiar with Tonight's Conversation.
I think you told me about it, but I wasn't familiar with it.
But they talk about a lot of different things, and they kind of touched on this as well. And I just was like, okay, I really want to know like other people's opinions, because I know what mine is, but I feel like it's different for every woman. Of course, it's different for males as well, but it's different for every woman because there's so many things that go into making up who you are.
Right.
So I'm going to let you answer first, and then I'm going to answer.
Okay. So am I easy to please? I think that I am, but I've been told that I'm not. In my relationship, he told me that I'm not grateful for things. And I'm like, okay, so grateful in what way are you saying? Because if I tell you thank you, that's like grateful.
Right.
Or if I say I appreciate you doing this, or if I do something for you in return. That's my way of really like saying, okay, I appreciate you. If I do something, you say, oh, I picked up food. I cook something. I'm thankful for you bringing the food to the house, and then I'll cook it. You get to eat. And I tell you, thank you. Mm-hmm. But in my relationships, I feel like it's really hard to dictate if you're easy to please, because it's a list of things that you ask for. Like, say, my go-to things in a relationship when I ask for somebody that's, I say, a lovable person, because I'm not that lovable. I need somebody opposite for me.
So do you mean love filled? Because I mean you're lovable. Everybody's lovable. Or someone you want your partner to be that one that outpours the love. Or do you want them to just be like really receptive to love you as you are, no matter what, whether you are nagging, complaining, or smiling, being happy, giving compliments? That's what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
But I don't want it to be like just who I am, because I feel like all of us are working every day to improve
I agree.
who we are. So in that moment, yes, I want you to accept who I am, but also accept the fact that I do change. I think what people don't understand, like 3-4 years ago, I'm not the same person that I was back
I
then.
agree.
Because back then I was very naive. I was very not an appreciative person. I was very not open to change and things like that. Whereas now I feel like I am. I have evolved into those things. And because you think that I am too independent or don't want to ask you for things in a relationship, but I feel like it all comes with time.
Yes.
It's a time thing for me. Going back to the question.
Look, it's okay. It's okay. We got a little time. We got a little time.
not veering from the question, but I say that I'm not difficult, but not as easy to love.
Okay.
And that's only because I'm almost 30. I expect you to come with certain things. I expect you to know how a relationship works. I expect you, like, those things, like, and then when you don't, it's like, if you're 30 or over 30, why don't you?
Ooh, girl. That's a whole nother topic right there, like for another day. Because I'm over 30, of course. I'm 34. And yeah, there are a lot of people that I meet because I'm not in a relationship. I'm just dating or whatever. But I meet a lot of guys who they don't come with some stuff that they should come with. Even ones that not just 30, in their 40s, like, so you're knocking on 50. What are you doing here?
Exactly.
What are you doing?
Exactly.
You haven't learned anything from the time you started dating? Like, come on, you need to change.
And you say you've been dating since you was...
Right. Girl.
I don't know how to feel about that, only because from experience, going back, this person told me they were husband material. I wasn't wife material. And I'm like, so what does that mean?
Right.
Because I cook, I clean, I try to make sure you're good, even though you don't care nothing about that aspect. Like, you out in the streets at whatever time, doing whatever it is. And you don't respect the fact that you should be in the house at a reasonable time if you're in a relationship with someone. 3-4 o'clock in the morning, what are you doing?
I can't. So on that part, I feel a little bit different than most. I'm a little more... I give a little more free way when it comes to that, because me, even though I want to be at home, usually no later than like 12, 1 a.m., if I'm out with my friends, I may, and especially if I didn't drive, I may be out about 3 or 4. But it doesn't mean that I'm doing anything wrong,
That's not the problem.
But at least communicate it.
Exactly. Communicate with me what is going on. If I don't see you all day,
oh yeah, it's a problem.
I haven't talked to you all day, and then you out until 3 o'clock, and you haven't told me what you're doing, where you at. And it's not the fact that I'm trying to be controlling. It's the fact that I'm trying to make sure everything is okay.
Yeah.
Because if I haven't talked to you, anything could happen. That's my standpoint, is anything can happen, and I don't know where you are, what's going on. Something can happen, and I wouldn't know.
And I think people make really light of that way of thinking, because we all think that we're going to see tomorrow.
Exactly.
We all think that when we go out, your car may not break down. And I thought that last week when I went to run errands, and I had my car had some little issues or whatever. But you don't think about that type of thing or whatever, and you don't think that, hey, I could get caught up in a crossfire or something, and it's me that is in that bag instead of going home.
Exactly.
And nobody knows where I'm at because I ain't say nothing. When it doesn't take, and that is something that I tell people all the time. Any relationship that I pretty much am in, as far as social relationships, friendships, my relationships with my family, guys that I'm dating as well, communicate. It doesn't take much to do it. It really don't. And we're all, like, let's just be real. Most of us are always on our phones, or our phones are always near us. Mm-hmm. We're on social media. We're doing this, we're doing that. It takes maybe 2 seconds to send a text message. Sometimes, it may take a little bit longer depending on what all you're saying, but it doesn't take much. So what's the issue? So I agree with that. Definitely communicate.
That's my biggest thing, is communication.
And you said a lot of stuff, and it got my mind going now, because I'm like, okay, am I ready to answer this question yet? Because I kind of want to dive in a little bit more into some other things. As far as you said, that he said that you're not wife material, and the things that you just listed, a lot of people feel like those are the requirements for a wife. But I will say this: I know plenty of women who, and I just actually got into a little debate with somebody about this, because they said that if a woman doesn't know how to cook or clean or whatever, she's not gonna get a ring. And I was just like, that's not true, because I know plenty of women who are not into cooking and cleaning that have rings, and I'm talking about nice ones. Okay, I have an aunt who, actually I have 2 aunts that cooking is just not their thing. Mm-hmm. They don't like to cook. Yeah. And their husbands love to cook. So their husbands do the cooking. Their husbands like to clean. Their husbands do the cleaning.
Yeah.
They help with taking care of other aspects of the home and their finances and things like that. Yeah. It doesn't, I don't feel like people should put societal gender roles on what makes somebody husband or wife material. And also you shouldn't just X somebody out as being qualifying of being a husband or wife just because they don't understand your love language.
Right.
Especially if you haven't tried to teach them.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted you to go a little bit more into, like, what did he expect as far as you showing that you're grateful? Like, what did he want you to do instead of just saying thank you? Because, I mean, thank you and I appreciate you really is synonymous with being grateful. So what was he expecting? Did he ever say?
No. I never get an answer to anything. Never. When I asked, you said I'm not wife material. Cool. So what makes you husband material?
And what did he
no answer.
Yeah. He got some soul
because you provide money. That's fine. I'm paying my bills. I provide money. I clean my house. I cook. I don't ask you for much, but to give me quality time and communication.
It seems like those are the hardest things sometimes. Like, it's rough out here in these streets for single people, okay? It's rough out here.
I'm like...
Even some people in relationships, I know some people, my friends, they be going through it too. It's rough out here with... There's a disconnect, I think, with... and I know I'm a little bit older than you, but I feel like there's a disconnect with men as far as communication, proper means of communication, and being open, I would say. Being open, and also like I don't know. They say we be living in a fantasy world, but I feel like they be living in a fantasy world sometimes because they want like this picture perfect thing, but they don't want to work for it really.
Exactly.
We can't have a really solid relationship if we don't talk. We're not mind readers. I'm not a mind reader. You're not a mind reader. Like, I mean, I might joke every now and then. I'd be like, you should have knew. But in actuality, you're not going to really know until you talk and get to know a person.
Yeah.
So I feel you on that. Now I'm going to answer the question a little bit and just kind of give my take on it. So I would say that I am not easy to please. I do feel like I have days where I am easy, but not all the time. I am more on the other end of being accustomed to neglect. And as I mentioned some of my prior episodes, like neglect was one of the first things that I was introduced to as a child, with my parents basically leaving my life and having to be raised by my grandmother and then going into foster care and then neglected there as well. And even continue, it's like because I was introduced to it as a child, it was kind of like a coat that was put on me. And this coat is a coat that I wore for many years. And I don't know, like sometimes we say things like, do I have stupid written on my forehead or something like that? I felt like everybody could see this coat on me of neglect. So a lot of new people that were coming into my life, they would neglect me as well. And that it's traumatizing. It's draining. Yeah, it's a lot. And I got to a point really kind of in my late 20s, I would say, where I was just like, this is just how life gonna be. And that was not a good space to be in, So yeah, I was accustomed to neglect because I ain't easy to please. There's a lot of things that I be wanting, and I need you to get there. Like I'm not gonna. I'll show grace sometimes because I do understand that. Hey, maybe they have this traumatic issue as well that's going on with them that I just don't understand. But that's why you got to communicate. You got to talk. Let somebody know what's going on with you. And one thing that I feel like there are a lot of people that are accustomed to neglect. I notice it so I am very big on birthdays, holidays. I just feel like I don't care if it's a made up holiday. I feel like you should still celebrate it. Why not? You should really celebrate every day.
Right.
So, I mean, I'll make up a fake holiday, if you want me to, but it doesn't matter. You should always celebrate.
Right.
A lot of people, I see some people that when it comes to their birthdays, and you may ask them, hey, what do you want for your birthday? What do you want to do for your birthday? And they'll say, oh, I don't want much. I don't want anything. I don't want to do anything, Or me, my sister, she's like the main person. She always tease me about this or whatever, but I believe that you should have parties. And there are some people who, they have a phobia of throwing a party because they're afraid no one will show up.
Right.
And the reason they have that fear is because it's happened before.
Right.
So a lot of times people don't even realize how much they've been neglected in life. And that's why they respond the way they do. Or even with, let's just say you got this, your podcast, you have your podcast, okay? Mm-hmm. And someone contacts you about being featured for winning an award or something for your podcast. And so all these people that know you, they're reaching out to you, telling you congratulations, they're so happy for you and everything. And you just kind of sit back and you're like, I don't know how to take this.
It's happened.
Yeah, that means you're accustomed to neglect.
I am. And the only reason why I know that is because sitting back. I lost my mom when I was 3. Then my dad was gone. I live with my grandparents that, grandparents don't really sit down and talk to you. It's kind of just like, yep, do this. All right. Do this. It's just a repeat cycle the entire time. The day I graduated, we had graduation, a party. I left.
Oh, wow.
Left the same night. Like the party was over. We cleaned up, took the stuff back to my grandmother's house, and I left with my dad. I was at the point where I was tired of just being hand and foot for my grandparents. Like, I love them to death. I love them to death. But I just got tired of being like, you go to school, you come home, you clean, you do your homework, you go to bed, you repeat this cycle every single day. If I didn't leave there, I would have gone insane.
I can see that.
Like, because if I had to stay there after graduation, I'm not going to clean all day, every day.
Right.
That's what I'm not about to do. And then my granddad just didn't clean up behind himself. So we was cleaning up behind him. And then my grandmother, this is a tangent, but she
It's okay.
she could do for herself, but it was hard for her to get around because she had so many aches and pains and stuff. But going back to it, I left with my dad, and that went on for a couple months until I went off come to Macon for school. And during school, I met a group of girls that, they were cool. They still my friends to this day, but they were cool. And it would be times where I would feel outside of the group. One, because I came behind. All of them went to high school together.
Okay.
I knew one girl.
That's understandable.
Yeah, I knew one girl out of the group because my dad and her mom are like best friends. So I know her from Atlanta. So when she said she was going to make it, I was like, all right, cool. I can go to that school. I know a person. And she introduced me to them. I was always told I had an attitude problem, which, okay, everybody does.
Right.
At that point, that's how I thought. Like, everybody have an attitude problem. I don't have an attitude problem. Like, what are you talking about? So that would make me upset. And then it would I would be the issue surrounded by certain stuff. And I'm just like, I wasn't understanding what was going on. Like, now I look back, it's like, okay, I understand. But then I was not understanding what was going on as far as my demeanor wasn't happy. It was always, but it was because I was so neglected. Like, when my like you say, when my birthday came around, it would seem like when I would want to throw a party for myself, I threw a party for myself once. My friend, these people, they came, they stayed for maybe 20 minutes, and they left. I was like, it really upset me because I'm like, now 2 of them stayed, but they had prior engagements. And I'm just like, bro, I never threw myself a party again. Ever again. And that was the first time I threw myself a party because I didn't really celebrate my birthday because it's around Halloween. Of course, Halloween takes over that. My birthday is the day before Halloween.
I'm so glad. So my birthday never just it's not on a holiday or close. But sometimes, because my birthday is at the end of March, the very, very end of March, it would sometimes fall on Easter.
Yeah.
Hated it.
Yeah.
hated it because Easter overshadowed my birthday, which I know some people are like, that is just so, so vain or whatever. But no, it really took away like from the extra celebratory activities that I normally would have to, oh, we're just gonna celebrate your birthday, with Easter. Like
We
you
gonna throw a
can't
Halloween party.
you can't have a Barbie themed birthday party this year. You gotta have an Easter themed party, like, because these decorations are on sale.
Exactly.
Like, no, I don't want that.
Yeah.
So I definitely understand that. So, like I said as well, I was raised with my grandmother. Now, I will say that it was repetitive to an extent, but we had some freedom, but not a lot. My grandmother was very strict, like, so we couldn't be outside all the time because she was always like, yeah, you never know what might happen outside. Somebody might take y'all or something,
Right.
or something. So even when we did go outside, we couldn't go far from the house.
Mm-hmm.
We had to be like in her vision.
Right.
If we were not in her vision, it was a problem.
Right.
And we could not just spend a night over anybody's house or whatever.
We weren't spending all night.
We end up, so my mom had two friends that had kids around the same age as me and my sister. And my grandma was still in contact with them and also like one of their grandparents also. So we got to spend the night over like their houses or whatever. Oh, we were so happy. That was freedom.
Right.
Like, cause their grandmother, like one of my cousins, call her my cousin because like our moms are friends and we grew up together. But her grandmother like was not like my grandma. She wasn't as old fashioned as my grandma. So
Right.
we could go over there and we could have some fun. Mm-hmm. And we loved that. But my neglect, my issues with neglect, really, it wasn't with my grandma, because my grandma she neglected me some. Now, I would say that because I talked about that too in my last episode of how she kind of showed more favoritism towards my sister because she was a baby. Mm-hmm. And I was the oldest, and they just like, you should know how to take care of yourself by now.
Right.
Basically. Which I didn't. I still needed some TLC. And I got more neglect when I went into foster care. That was on another level. And then dating just brought about so many things in me that I didn't even know were responses to being neglected until I just really sat back when I turned 30, honestly. And I was just like, yeah, I can't keep living like this. This ain't it. These relationships are toxic. This is not healthy. I mean, I just said this last year too to myself. So, we are always changing and learning things because I was still involved in some toxic things. And sometimes I still am, Hey, I'm human. But the neglect started to not overpower how I felt about everything else. I always I can tell when someone has been neglected or feels neglect in their life, and I always try to pour out more love to them because I want you to feel loved no matter what. And I want you to celebrate your birthday. I don't care if 2 people show up. Celebrate your birthday. I don't care if you have this big accomplishment that's coming up and people, they're coming at you saying thank you. Be receptive to it. Mm-hmm. One thing I learned last year, which I didn't know that I was really doing it or whatever, was when people would give me a compliment, I would automatically give a compliment back. Mm-hmm. You don't always have to do that. Sometimes it's okay to just take in what they said about you because it's about you at that moment and let it resonate in you. And believe it. Like you gotta actually take it in and believe it.
That's my problem.
And because I was insecure a lot, and I didn't believe these things that people were telling me about me, I would just be like, it's like, the whole saying, I'm rubber or whatever, mm-hmm. and glue, but I was definitely rubber at the time, and it just bounce right back. So I'm gonna give you a compliment back. You told me I'm beautiful, I'm gonna tell you you're beautiful. Which I said to someone, because sometimes, people need it. Mm-hmm. They need to know, because sometimes people don't they don't know how beautiful they are. They let the ugly of life take over that.
That's deep.
And you have to separate yourself from that. And that's just like I tell myself all the time too, like, I'm not my mistakes. My mistakes are a part of me, but that's not all of me.
Right.
I'm more than that. I'm full of mistakes now, flaws and all that, but I also am really beautiful. And there are so many things that make me beautiful. There's so many things that make you beautiful. So you have to just kind of have those conversations with yourself, or have somebody in your corner to cheer you on, because I feel like everybody should be celebrated. If you're doing a good job, you're doing a good job. And you shouldn't feel like I don't deserve it, you know?
Yeah.
And so going forward, we're going to make sure you celebrate your birthday this year. Yeah, we're going to do something. We're gonna do
Well,
something
they
for your
did
birthday.
it last year. They ended up throwing me a surprise party that I didn't know nothing about. I was like, wait, they tricked me and everything.
Now, that's one
I was
thing
like-
I haven't had yet. No one has thrown me a surprise party yet. So if you listening, I hope somebody do throw me a surprise party while I'm still able to enjoy parties, you know, maybe 40,
Period.
you know,
Yeah.
throw me a
But they
surprise
ended up
party.
doing it, and it was nice. I was very appreciative because a lot of them, they don't live here. A lot of them don't live here. So
yeah,
them
that's
driving here, I
always
was like,
good.
okay, look at y'all.
And see,
So it made me feel.
that's
It made
pouring
me
that
feel
love
better.
back into you.
Right.
Right.
But yeah,
Yeah,
it was
so
nice.
A lot of people though, they really say they're easy to please. I think a lot of people say they're easy to please, and of course, this is not like a blanket statement. But there are a good bit of people that say they're easy to please because they're trying to be a pick-me. Because you don't want somebody to think you're problematic or whatever. So you just want to try to be the most, oh, this is going to sound kind of mean. I'm trying to think of another word to use, but I can't, y'all. So you try to be your most bland version of yourself. So somebody just accept you.
And then pile on the problems later.
Yeah. And that's not, don't do that. Don't dumb yourself down to be just
Just to get
bland.
with
Just to
someone.
get something. Yeah. Like always, try to be your full you. Try to be all of you. You're bold you. And try not to be a pick-me. Try not to please everybody. You know, you saying you're easy to please because you're pleasing everybody else. But who's pleasing you? You, at the end of the day, you still not being pleased. You're just saying this on the surface. When you go lay down at night, that's why you got insomnia. Because you're overthinking. You thinking about, oh, I should have did this different, should have did that different. This should not happen. This shouldn't happen. And it's because you let these people just kind of get by with things because you just want to be accepted. Which I get. We all want to be accepted.
Yeah.
I get it. I have done some things that I know I ain't want to do, but because I wanted to be accepted, I did it. I don't do that
You
no
and me
more.
both.
I don't do that no more now.
Wanted to be a part.
Yeah, I wanted to be a part. I wanted to feel important. I wanted to feel like I mattered. I wanted to feel love, what I thought was love. So I did these things, and nah, that ain't it.
I'm so glad you mentioned that though, because no later than a week or two ago, I was battling myself strongly because for a long time I felt like I needed someone. Like I go somewhere, and I even told you that I go somewhere, I needed someone. I do something, I needed someone. Anything, I needed someone to do it with. Living with this guy, I felt like I needed him there all the time. Until maybe 2 weeks ago, I'm like, Lord, please take this need for people away from me. Because I want to be able to be me alone and add to someone rather than somebody adding to me and me feeling like I need them or I need somebody around. Like, and it's been weighing heavy on me. and I'm really trying to work through it.
You gonna work through it. It's gonna take some time.
It's-
I will say this though.
If there's a therapist out there, I need one.
I'm gonna give you some contact info because I know somebody to hook you up with somebody that'll help you. But and that's what we should have did tonight. I forgot about it. But so I will say this. I feel like, and I don't want to mess you up as far as like your processing of everything, but I don't want you to feel like you don't need people. You do need people. Mm-hmm. You need people. It's just that the reasons why.
Right.
I would say the reasons why behind it. You want people. You need people, not just want. You need people that are going to reciprocate what you give. You need people that are going to be understanding. You need people that are going to be forgiving. You need people that are going to be graceful. You need people that are just going to be there for you, you know? And so we are always taught, like, hey, you know, you came into this world by yourself, you're going to leave by yourself. Mm-hmm. And that we should be able to stand alone. But I feel like that is the one thing that is the strength of being an individual is also being able to blend in with other people and connect with other people because, and I mention it, I mention this all the time. If God wanted us to be alone, we wouldn't be here. He put other people around us because we do need them.
Right.
We just have to have discernment, trust our energy, trust patterns. Like, hey, I see this happened before, let me go. You know, we have to trust those type of things and trust our knowledge that he's given us, and that we also learn to keep who we need and who we don't need, let them go. That's the hardest thing, is letting go of somebody that you have a strong want for, but there's no need there. It's no need there. And that's hard. I know it's very hard. I've been there before, and especially in relationships. It's hard. But for me, like, I would say what kind of taught me to be able to attend things and kind of stand alone is the fact that, so my sister, we're 2 years apart, and we've done life together. We'll just say we've done life together. She went to the Air Force 2012, I think it was. Because I think it was around the time that movie came out that the world was ending. In which I felt like my world was ending because my sister was leaving me, you know. So, and we had never like been apart. And she was gone. Like, she had to go to basic training and stuff, go through tech school, be on different bases and everything. And I didn't see her. You know, it wasn't our norm was seeing each other every day. Right. And it went to, I may see her in 4 months or 6 months or something like that. So that taught me how to be able to go to places and not be afraid to make new friends, not be afraid to be social and just talk to random people. Honestly, like, I really would go into places by myself, and I had to break away from that shyness, and I just like, hey, my name is Brittany, you know, what's your name, you know, or I'll just, you know, do a little icebreaker. Oh, I like your shoes. I like your earrings. Where you get that from? And that helped me to be able to be alone in a sense. And it got me to be more familiar with myself as well.
Yeah. We
both had that time apart but still, now we back together, and people just kind of put us in the same little boat or whatever. Like, they think because I like something that she like it, and vice versa. And it's not the case. We're totally different. Only we're real different. I don't even know how we be making it as roommates because we real different. But we be making it though. We be making it. Like, we have our moments. Just like a couple days ago, we got into it real bad. And I was just like, I can leave. I ain't gotta be here. So
I'll be back though.
That happens. or whatever. But it helps sometimes. But don't be afraid. Like I want try to start doing some stuff just by yourself, just off the whim.
I have. I've been maybe like last year, maybe even more. I've been going out to dinner or lunch, whichever one, by myself. I don't ask somebody to go. I just go and I go get something that I really want. And I just sit there. I may watch maybe like some YouTube videos that I want to catch up on, or I just sit there and I read something just to reset myself. And I've been to the park just to release some things. So I've been doing a few things, not just like public events, but
We're gonna get there.
yeah,
You're gonna get there. You're gonna get
work
to public
through it.
events. You're gonna get there.
We're gonna get there.
Yeah.
I mean, that my Isha's event was really an eye opener for me.
What you did great. You did really good. You were very vulnerable and open. I loved it.
God. I think that's been the most open that I've been in a very long time. Just because people know my story, but they also think I'm a difficult person, if that makes sense. And it's like, okay, I can accept that now. Before I couldn't accept that because I'm like, I'm not difficult. Like, I don't do anything to nobody. I do sometimes. But but I feel like it comes from places where I feel like you're playing with me.
Oh, I understand. Like,
and it'd be like, so
don't play with me.
You do something and then we go in public and you expect me not to be mad.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to learn that turn it off, turn it on switch. That switch ain't been working. Ain't been working.
Look, sometimes I feel like that switch, like, it's in a place it ain't really supposed to be at. Like, sometimes you can't find it. And sometimes you don't need to find it, honestly. But,
But I'm trying to do better.
I'm pretty graceful most of the time. I try to be. But sometimes I do have my moments where I feel like somebody playing with me. And I'll be like, I'm finna check them.
Period.
And
as you should.
And I'm not gonna just pretend like everything is okay just because we're around people. No, it's not okay. But yeah, so I'm glad that you are, getting out and doing things and being by yourself and enjoying your company, your own company. But don't forget that you need people.
Yeah.
You just need the right people.
Yeah. I think I have a few right people in my life. Some of them can exit stage left, but some of them are really accepting of just how I am, and I'm not the same person I was 2 years ago. So
that's the beauty of life.
Yeah.
Beauty of
I had somebody tell me
aging.
it was crazy because I never told them about what was going on, but they was like, yeah, you're like a very what's the word? Territorial person. And I didn't really think about it until she said it. I'm like, I am territorial. Me too. I'm very territorial over my friends, over cause I got 2 sets of friends. But I don't think they should mix. Like, I be like, I had a group of friends that was like, they were who I met, like, trying to get myself together. And then I had my school friends that was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I never wanted them to mix. Never wanted them to. They can tell you to this day. They be like, yeah, can I get her number? I just want to, no, you could talk to me and I'll talk to her. And now I don't care that much, but I'm a very territorial person. And I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, honestly.
That's you just brought up a whole other question. Like that's very loaded. And we ain't gonna get all the way into it right now. But yeah, that is very loaded because I have features that are territorial as well. And at the end of the day, it all comes from, it's a trauma response.
Yep.
It's a trauma response. That's all it is. But it goes so much deeper. But so we're just gonna kind of close it out a little bit. And I am so grateful that you came to share with us. And really just be personal though. Like you really gave like some stuff that a lot of people just would not. They're not comfortable with talking about it.
Yeah.
You
I'm
know?
trying to be a very more open person. I was very closed-minded for a lot of my life. But I've been very open this last year.
I like it. And I feel like with being a content creator and having a podcast, it helps you to be more open. Well, if you want to be your authentic self, you want to share your authentic self, because some people don't. Mm-hmm. Some people be lying.
Yeah, check out my YouTube. It's very authentic. I promise.
Check her out. Make sure you subscribe to her. Subscribe to my channel as well. Have Tea with B. And just kind of closing it out. So I'm going to ask you, what is your favorite flavor or blend of tea?
I'm really basic.
So what?
I've only really had ginger. Well, I just started drinking tea, honestly. It started from being sick, and then I was like, oh, I like tea. So I used to drink tea every morning for work. Instead of like people drink coffee, I drink tea. I take it to work, deal with the students. But ginger, elderberry, that's about it. Peppermint.
Okay. Well, I drank pretty much I drank a whole bunch of different kinds of teas though. And I would say my favorite, I like lavender teas because they're calming. It really does work. Like, it's not just a little gimmick or whatever. Like, the herbs and stuff really do work. It really does calm you. And I like I'm trying to think of the flavor that it's with. It's a hemp blend that I get from the Cook Shop, which is here in Macon. And I started drinking that tea to help with my menstrual cycle. Because I used to have like really, really bad cramps and stuff like that. And that tea, oh my God, it really worked. Like, it really eased the pain and help it to be more manageable to deal with as well. But I'm open to trying all kind of different teas. This probably a little TMI. And I ain't gonna go too much into it because I don't want to make myself seem a certain type of way. But I like to have fun too, you know. I'm not, a lot of people look at me and they be like, oh, she's stuck up. I'm really not. Like, I'm not stuck up. It's just certain things I'm not gonna do. But it's a lot of things that I will do. And I went to a poetry event in Atlanta with one of my cousins last month. And it was a tea bar, she just told me it was a tea bar. When we got there, though, it was I forgot the proper name, but they had like all these different blends of hemp and infused stuff and everything. And so I tried one of the teas because I opened to try stuff, you know. Yeah, that was a night to remember there that I barely remember. Okay.
Not the tea get you
Girl.
crazy.
Yeah, that's some tea there. That was some tea there. Okay. But
Drink your tea. Drink your tea. Okay.
But I have all kind of blends of different teas and stuff that I have at home that I try. I like raspberry. I like stuff that you don't have to add anything to. If I add anything most of the time to tea, it'll be just like a lemon. I barely even add honey. Yeah, I barely add honey. I really don't want my tea to be super sweet. I don't. But that's pretty much it. Again, I really thank you for coming on. So y'all make sure y'all subscribe to her channel, subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. And follow 1212 Studios. So that is it. Thank you.